How to live a very balanced life.
I've totally sacrificed my friendships, and I've definitely sacrificed my family. And yeah, I only get 4 to 6 hours of sleep every night.
Struggles with managing your time. How to solve issues with love, life, money, or your spiritual journey.
I can't stress to you enough. It's important to live a very balanced life.
Dani is the counterweight to give you balance.
Do you find that you're not living out your life the way you want it to?
This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Again, we're always so glad that you've chosen to join us, especially on a day like today, because whatever it is that you've got going inside of your day, we're definitely going to have an awesome, deep discussion about success. And I'm talking about something such a simple principle that many of us overlook. You've heard me talk about 98% of the population being dead or dead broke by the age of 65, dependent on their family, friends, and federal government for their main source of income, and that only 2% would be financially independent. I hope that sticks in your head, because I hope that you decide to make new choices, especially new choices based on what you and I are going to discuss today. So, I want to paint a picture for you. And the picture is this. Imagine that you are a farmer, or maybe you're not. Maybe you know someone that is a farmer. But let's just look at a farmer, and let's look at what the farming industry actually can teach us on how to become successful. These are principles, by the way, that have been around since the beginning of time. Farming, obviously, has been the oldest profession ever done. From the very beginning of time, man had to figure out a way to provide for himself and his family, and he did it through yielding crops from the field and hunting. So, it's the oldest profession that's out there, and it really has the opportunity to teach us a lot of very important principles. One principle that I grabbed from the business world in learning about farming, and how did it apply to money? How did it apply to relationships? How did it apply to success? And I believe that today is going to cause you to go, wow. Yay. And actually, for some, it's going to help them from making a really big, bad, costly mistake. Again, a repeated mistake that happens over and over again. So imagine there is a farmer. He buys a plot of land. He does all kinds of research in finding out what is the best non-GMO seed. Did I say that? Yes, non-GMO seed. I certainly hope you're not eating GMO food and you're not feeding it to your children, God forbid. But anyway, he buys the best possible seed, heirloom seed, okay? Seed that actually reproduces itself and doesn't have cockroach DNA in it and is not going to cause disease inside of your family or your friends. All the studies are coming out with all the modifying of seed, all the things that are connected are disgusting, but this is not a GMO show. We probably need to have a GMO show, actually. But anyway, here's the deal. There's a farmer. He buys a plot of land. He buys the best seed. He does the research, and he studies the farmer's almanac. He interviews a lot of other farmers. He is learning everything he possibly can about his area, the quality of water, the kind of soil he should be using, the kind of fertilizer he should be using, what time of year to plant what type of seed, and what other seed should he be planting around that seed, meaning there's certain crops that are, better next to each other. And there's certain seasons that work best for certain fruits or vegetables. So he does all of this, and then he hires laborers. He hires people to come and help him. So he's got the trucks, he's got the big equipment to till that soil. They pull in all the rocks out, they bring it in great soil, right? Everything is ready. They plant that seed, and then that farmer, after a short period of time, he comes back. And again, after all this hard work and all this money that he's invested, right, he feels pretty good. Okay. And now it's up to God to grow that seed, and it's up to man to do what? To protect and nourish that seed. But see, a rookie farmer, just like a rookie business person, just like somebody who has grown up in lots of instability in their lives, and they've got a habit of instability, that farmer goes, he looks at his field, and he looks across it, and he sees nothing but small, little sprouts. That beautiful, dark, rich soil, which is these vulnerable, itty-bitty, tiny, little weakling of sprouts. And see, this farmer didn't realize that between the seed going in the ground, it takes time before he reaps a harvest. So the amateur would actually look at that field and go, after all the money I've spent, after all the hard work I've put into this, after everything that I've done, and all the stuff I had to put up with my team, my staff, and of all of this, all the studying I've done, and this is all I get after all of this time? He stomps on the sprouts, he abandons the fields, forget it, I'm out of here. Now, you and I both know a farmer wouldn't do something stupid like that. But there are people that make those decisions in their marriages every day. People that make decisions inside of their businesses, their jobs, their careers, and their finances every single day. You see, during the planning time and the preparation time, you don't see anything. There's nothing to see. That's just lots of work, lots of labor, no result. And unfortunately, people in today's world, because we've become such a microwave society, we don't understand that we have to pass the test of the passing of time. Because the difference between the seed and, let's say, an apple or the cucumber that I just ate for lunch, had several. But if it was the seed that planted the vine that created the cucumber, if I don't understand the concept of passing of time, and during the passing of time, that I am supposed to protect and nourish those sprouts because they are vulnerable. Too much water, the sprout will die. Too much sun, it will die. If I don't protect it from the weeds, that it will die. So I'll never reach my full harvest of the 200 cucumbers that are on my vines right now. I wouldn't reach those 200 cucumbers if I didn't understand this beautiful principle of farming. And this principle of farming applies to the marriage so easily. And I got to tell you, I have been guilty of this myself, especially in my early years. In my early years in my marriage, when something would go wrong or we would get into a tiff, I was out. I didn't want to be married anymore. I didn't want anything to do with him. Right away, I get into my head that I don't want to be with him. I'm out of here. I made a mistake. I'm bolting. And the same for business. It was the same also in my careers, that if it didn't go right and it didn't go according to my fantasy expectations, well then, my friend, forget it. I'm out of here. It's not working. I got to go find something else. But see, here's what happens. Where there is no root, there is no fruit. And a lot of people continue to uproot themselves from the place that they are at right now, not realizing that they could just be in a season of preparation where that's where you're working really hard and you don't see the fruit yet. Working hard, getting that soil ready, all the work, all the laboring, the fertilizing, the protecting, and bam, you just get this little tiny thing. But let me tell you what a sprout proves to you and I. It proves that it is progress and it's a guarantee of what is to come. It's a guarantee of what is to come. And I have to tell you something. As I've worked with many, thousands of people, business consulting and things of that nature, coaching, business consulting, as I've done that and I've seen my clients, many of them, especially those who, well, actually, it's not just the rookies. I've also seen it in seasoned business people also, and career-minded people, that when it doesn't go fast enough, when they have not exercised patience and diligence, excellence and endurance, well, then they abandon the idea, they abandon the thing that they've worked hard into, they deroot themselves and go and try to find another thing to do. That's what we're talking about today. So here, I've got a question for you. Have you ever uprooted yourself too soon? Have you had a pattern of uprooting yourself in your life? Call me. Let's talk about it. Let's get underneath that problem so that you can establish some solid roots. Because where there are solid roots, that is where the sweetest fruit is. And every situation in our life that we're going to succeed in, whether it's having that marriage that is just so awesome and flourishing and you can manage problems better with each other, because all marriages have problems, right? We've got economy problems, we've got health problems that we encounter, we've got kid problems that we encounter, that's all part of life. But also in our business or career, our financial lives, in that area, maybe you've started off and trying to do a new thing, meaning, let's just say that you're declaring war on your debt. debt and you tried it for a week and you didn't see a lot of results. Well, Dani, I have $300,000 worth of debt to pay off. Listen, friend, that's going to take time, and it's going to take diligence, and it's going to take focus, and it's going to take roots, like rooting yourself into a new mindset in order to get to paying off that $300,000 worth of debt. So, and also for the career. Think about that. How many times have you either thought or done just uprooted yourself? Forget it, I'm out of here. I'm not prospering fast enough. Okay, it's not going smooth enough. I don't like what I'm seeing, or I don't like what I'm feeling. And instead of learning how to work through those seasons, people tend to bolt. And when they bolt, they have to start all over again. And when they have to start all over again, this is 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. You gotta have roots, which means that you have to pass the test of the passing of time. 844-200-3264 is my number. Call me, let's talk about this. And have you actually passed the test of time? And what was the result of it? Where you did actually root yourself. You decided to not quit. You decided to not move yourself, but you decided, I'm staying right where I'm at. I don't care how hard this gets, I'm staying where I'm at. 844-200-3264. I either want to hear how you were able to overcome, or I want to hear the nitty-gritty about the cost that you had to pay because you continued to uproot yourself. Because there's somebody listening right now that is either thinking about uprooting themselves from a marriage, from a state, from a job, or from a financial decision. They are right now at the brink, perhaps, of quitting a business that they have invested into, and you could actually help them by your testimony and how you've experienced making that mistake or how you've been able to overcome. Your life story, your input could save a life today. That is 844-200-3264. I'm totally looking forward to hearing what you have to say because, again, you and I are going to aid in a life being changed. Because seriously, especially in our early years, we make decisions, and I've often said this, between 18 and 25, we make decisions that set us up for the rest of our lives of either total regret and on paths of bad habits, or it sets us up for some blessing. And that doesn't mean that we can't find the detour if we went on the wrong path. We can, and we can talk about that today as well. This is Dani Johnson. I love that you and I are being able to have this discussion today. I can't wait to hear your input on today's subject. We'll continue with more right after this.
Don't just stand there. Soak this up. It's joy, it's encouragement, it's insight to a better life and how to meet your obligations and overcome obstacles.
The Dani Johnson Show.
This is the Dani Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
Helping you get a grip on your priorities and your focus. The Dani Johnson Show.
Here's Dani Johnson.
Are you a job hopper? Church hopper? Boyfriend, girlfriend hopper? Business hopper? I just had this picture in my head. What picture did you get? I just see like a human being, a human's face on top of a rabbit's body. I don't like my church anymore. Bam, I'm out of here. My job is getting hard. Bam, I'm out of here, right? I mean, that seems to be the tendency, and we live in a culture that says, if we don't like it, leave it. Yeah, that's pretty much what we have grown to believe in today's culture. But man, I'm telling you that, okay, well, let's just go back in time during a season and a time where farmers, that's what they did, or it was a sheep herder or somebody that had cattle or whatever, and he's raising his children, and that's the family business. The kids were not saying, what am I going to be when I grow up? No, man, it was, hello, we are farmers. This is what our family does, and we get ourselves rooted in this, and therefore we endure the hard times, times and the famines, but we don't quit. We don't just up and root ourselves and move on, but that we stay solid. We persist through the bad times, because wherever the roots are deep, that's where the fruit is sweet. That sounded good, didn't it? So we're talking about that today, uprooting versus, hey, root yourself, and so that you can get to that longer lasting fruit that is so much sweeter. 844-200-3264 is my number. I'm going over to line 2. I've got James. James from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Yes, can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Okay, great, thank you. Well, Dani, I just wanted to say thank you for all you do out there. Just a lot of great information. One of the questions I have is it okay to ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I guess my main question would be whether it be finances, relationships. I love how you say job hopping, business hopping, and what a great analogy. But I believe broken focus is kind of the main contributor. It brings a lot of good people down, men and women. What's the main thing for staying focused?
Yeah, James, that's such a good question. I've actually had a conversation with a couple of people this week about that very same thing. Well, we live in a very distracted culture, but we can't use the distracted culture as an excuse for our lack of focus. Do you remember the days before we all had cell phones?
Oh, most definitely.
And do you remember that we could only be contacted at home or at work, but not in between?
Very true. Yeah, very true. I was just watching an older TV show, and it was actually Starsky and Hutch, and he got out to a payphone.
Exactly, exactly. And we very rarely ever used payphones. But back in that time, our life was so much simpler and so much more focused. So just a cell phone in itself can be a major distractor for us. The fact that we keep this thing on our bodies almost 24/7, and when we're sleeping, it's right next to our bedside, and we carry it into the bathroom with us. Now, I know, James, you probably never take your phone with you into the bathroom. But I know there's a lot of people who send emails from the toilet. They Facebook and tweet from the toilet. They're making important business decisions from their phone while they're on the toilet. It's really sad. And then, of course, there are those who catch up on celebrity gossip from the toilet. Bottom line is, what happened to the days where we actually went to the toilet in peace? Where we actually were not thinking, doing everything else besides taking care of business that we need to take care of. So we really have to look at the things we've invited into our lives that have distracted us more. And the way to stay focused is to block out your time. To block out your time. Meaning, I often tell several clients that they should not, and it depends on the job, depends on the situation, but if email is a major distractor, do not check email first thing in the morning. You got to prioritize your morning when you're at work as well as at home. What are the two main things that I must get done today? Do those suckers first. And then block out time. Set appointments for checking email. And then when that appointment is done, meaning you give yourself 1 hour to check email, when that's done, you move on to the next appointment. Maybe the second hour, maybe that next appointment right after the hour of checking email. And again, everyone's different. It depends on what their career is. But then now this is the hour for phone calls. And you get as much done in that hour that you possibly can without interruption. So blocked, focused time is always going to have us bring more success in our lives than, wow, scattered all over the place, being tugged by a text message, notifications of Facebook and Twitter on our phones, notification of every email that comes through, and then we react all day long and end up getting nothing done. And that's what also results in people getting fired. That's what results in them creating frustration for themselves and the people who have offered them a position somewhere, as well as business people. When business people cannot produce results every day, they're going to have to go out of business. So I really appreciate your call, and I appreciate that question, James. Thanks so much for being a faithful listener to the Dani Johnson Show. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue more after this.
How can you achieve your goals and change your life for the better? Stay right where you are for more of the Dani Johnson Show.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, Do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
Hello?
Improving the quality of your life. The Dani Johnson Show.
I love it.
You know, in my life, I have found that when I get frustrated, there's this thing inside of my belly that goes, forget it, I don't want to do this anymore. Do you ever have that happen to you? You know, I learned, and I heard the message over and over again, that you have got to persist. You must endure during those frustrating times and solve the problem. But I used to be that person who go, it must not be meant to be. Have you ever said that? It must not be meant to be. I hate to tell you, that is actually the voice of poverty. That's a poverty mentality. There is no faith in that statement. There is no faith in that statement. There's no endurance in that statement. That's actually the voice also of a victim, that you are a victim of outward circumstances that you could not control. And so I challenge you today, rather than being one, because if you are one of these people that, I'm out. I'm frustrated. I don't like it. I don't like her anymore. I don't like him anymore. I'm done. It's over. Goodbye. You know, we live in a day and age where moms have actually abandoned their own children because it was too hard. Isn't that sad? So we literally live in this hoppy mentality. I'm not talking about hoppy as in beer. I'm talking job hop, church hop, business hop, career hop, boyfriend, girlfriend hop, diet hop. I've done that, right? We are like, we try something for a little bit because of this microwave mentality. It's not working as fast as we want it to, so I'm out of here. Do you know how many jobs would not exist today if that's how corporations thought? You know, so many companies, they're doing research and development, and they spend hundreds of millions of dollars before the product ever even reaches the market, and they have no idea if it's going to work. And so those investors who end up making millions and some of them billions of dollars, as well as those same people that have provided all those jobs for those thousands, if not tens of thousands of people, those individuals, my friend, are the people that have endured the hardships. Those are the people who have persisted, stayed focused, and understood the passing of time. You have to understand the passing of time. Between a seed going into the ground and it reaping a harvest, turning into the fruit of the vegetable that we want to grow, in the case of finances or business or relationship, here's the facts. We have to pass the test of time. And the passing of the test of time is what? Patience. Oh, yes, I said that nasty, dirty word, didn't I? All right, we're going to the phones. I'm taking your call. If you have a question about, how do I do that? You're finding that there's problems in your life and you are one of those hoppers, okay? Call me. You got problems you got to solve? 844-200-3264. I've got Samantha calling from the United Kingdom. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, so what do you have got to say about this?
I wouldn't be in debt. We would be nearly have the mortgage paid and be living a life if we hadn't made bad decisions. Ouch, that really sort of hit me like a ton of bricks. What a difference my life could be if I'd just had the principles that you teach us, the principles to grow my mindset, my skill set. Yeah. We use credit for everything, for holidays, TV, clothes, bigger cars, better homes, all because everyone else was doing it and because we thought we looked better and as though we were doing well in life. And boy, we are not doing well in life now.
Wow. So you're saying you abandoned staying focused on better goals of being debt-free or saving money, and you jumped on the wonderful British and American and Canadian and Australian and South American mindset. Make more, spend more, look better to everybody else. And I love what you're saying, that if you had stayed, because again, when we are young, I don't know, did your parents teach you how to save?
Yes.
They did. Right? Mom and Dad taught you?
Try the very, very best. Look after the pennies and the pounds will take care of themselves.
Yep. So Mom and Dad taught you to watch over the pennies, and the dollars here in the U.S., the pounds over there, would take care of themselves. So they actually taught you how to save. They taught you that very important principle, and you uprooted yourself from the principle they sowed into you as a child. And put yourself in a different field of consumerism, materialism, and keeping up with the Joneses. Do they have Joneses over there?
Yes, we do, yeah.
Keeping up with the Joneses, and guess what you found out? The Joneses are broke. Get out of that field, girlfriend, and go back to your roots of saving, living frugal, and being wise. Because that, at the end of the day, is what's going to have you feel successful and satisfied. That you are not a slave to stuff and a slave to keeping up with broke people who look like they have money. Anyway, Samantha, thank you so much for listening to the show, by the way, all the way from the United Kingdom. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for your faithfulness, and I appreciate also your transparency and what you just shared, because that right there just helped somebody get a little gut check. This is Dani Johnson. We're taking your call, 844-200-3264. If you get the voicemail, leave us a comment, and we will do what we can to get to that and leave the answer right here live on the show. All right, so I've also got Chad from Naples, Florida. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Thank you, Dani. I had to laugh out loud when I heard you talking about the topic today, because that's a lesson I've had to learn in my life, not just once, but multiple times. Career hopping early on, young family, got to make more money, left a good job, and took the next one because they said, boy, there's going to be so much money on this one. Got there, and it was just nothing. But it opened me up to some new possibilities, and I ended up in a career that I really enjoyed. Well, then I did it again. Making decent money, growing family. I'm doing pretty good, but I'm working 60, 70 hours a week. I'm sometimes pulling overnighters. And I was going crazy, and a friend of mine said, listen, I see how you're working. I see you're just killing yourself and your family. I've got a friend who's got a business that's going to change everything. You could be making 6 figures working from home. And I went, let's do it. And I got there. And none of it was true. It was all hype. And even the things that were true, to my own discredit, I wasn't any good at it. And I knew I wasn't any, and I struggled for months and months and months. And God finally came in and took care of my family and helped us out and got me past my own stupidity. But boy, were those hard lessons.
They are hard lessons. And you know what's so sad, Chad, is that many of us don't ever learn the lesson. And number two, therefore, we're always behind. We're always behind and trying to catch up, versus if we had found out in the current job how to make more money, learning new skills to solve the problems of working 60-hour weeks or pulling overnighters, and learning communication skills with the appropriate people and setting appropriate boundaries and respecting your family, respecting your time, so that you don't get taken advantage of in that case, but that you speak up. I find this all the time. It is the craziest thing, Chad. It is the absolute craziest thing. As an employer, I've experienced this, and as I've done business consulting with lots of other employers, this is what we experience. The staff much rather complain and put a smiley face on. They complain in their mind or under their breath or to each other and put a smiley face on to the boss. And never sit down and have a conversation and say, how do you feel my production is? Because I want to make sure I'm serving you in the best possible way that I can. And I want to make sure that I'm helping our organization or our company or our church to do better. Would you mind telling me ways I can do that that's going to better serve you? And they will tell you. And at the end of that conversation, you say, I'm going to make a commitment to do these things, and I want to make sure I'm here for the long haul. And I don't want to be one of the people that is job hopping or career hopping or church hopping. I want to be one of those people that really is firmly rooted. And when I first started here, that was my intention. And I have a few things I'm wondering if you can help me with so that I can make sure that I follow through with that. Because I know that it's harder for a company to hire and to replace someone than it is to be able to solve the problems with the current one that is there. And I want to be one that is upfront about how things are going from my end and needs your advice about how I might be able to fix it. So that's a simple conversation to have, but I
didn't have any of those skills.
right. Just,
No way.
isn't that amazing? Here you're pulling an all-nighter and your boss might not even know about it. You might be working 60 hours, they might not even know about it. And
I was
that's
afraid to go.
exactly.
Literally.
Exactly. And so what people like to show to the boss is a smile, is everything's great and I'm doing my best. And what the boss does see is that maybe they're not handling, they're missing some deadlines, things like that. So then now we have a confrontive conversation that could have been bypassed if simply someone like yourself, as you're saying, I should have went to those people and said, here's my goal, how can I serve you better, and what can I do to cut down on this. This is how long it's actually taking me. But people have a tendency, I'm sure I can do that. Yeah, I'd be glad to do that. Yeah, I'll take that one too. I'll take care of that too. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more of the Dani Johnson Show right after this.
Dani Johnson says you can make great things happen in your own life.
Let's go. Hi, I'm Dani Johnson, and the most common question I get usually are from people who are trying to juggle their life. They've got kids who are involved in all kinds of activities. They've got business or their job, finances, trying to get out of debt, plus all their church activities and all the volunteer activities, and they're pulling their hair out going, how do I juggle this all? Man, I once lived just like that until I learned Time Secrets. Time Secrets showed me how to be able to cut my hours from 100 hours a week that I was working down to 20 hours a week and tripled my income as a direct result with what I learned. Time Secrets also showed me how to get my priorities in order, which healed up my marriage. And I became a mother that I was proud of versus becoming the mother I didn't want to be. And so if you feel like your world is running around in all kinds of different circles, you can fix that. Call 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880 for Time Secrets.
We're back. Here's Dani Johnson.
Friend, what you feed will flourish, what you neglect will die. And if you are neglecting your goal of being firmly rooted so that you can bear much fruit, I promise you that if you're not feeding that goal by solving the problems that you need to solve in order to achieve that goal, you're easily going to be distracted by shiny objects. Shiny objects like what? Oh, a better paying job. At least that's what they said, right? You'll be distracted by shiny objects. A new business opportunity when you weren't looking for one and didn't need one, right? And you already didn't have enough time with your family, right? Okay, wait, there's more. A shiny object like you're already on a diet plan and you're watching television and woo, there's a new one. Boop, 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 boop. You know, squirrel, you got to shoot the squirrel and stick with the same plan that you're working already. People have a tendency of chasing shiny objects. It's almost like they're a fish in the ocean. What's that? Right? And they get baited and taken off of tasks or goals that they've already set out that they wanted to achieve. And so today on the Dani Johnson Show, we are working on, together, you and I work, because I'm talking to myself too. We are working on really deciphering, am I chasing another shiny object? You know, it's the same for marriage, right? This is how people have an affair. They are married. They said, until death do us part, I promise to be faithful. You are the one that I picked above everybody else. You are my only choice. And in sickness and in health, I'm with you. Hello? But here's the shiny object of some chick in some short shorts and too much cleavage. Hello? Or some guy with some big old pecs. And he's the high school sweetheart that you never, ever, ever got to marry. But you married Joe Schmo, who's a jack of all trades and master of none. But, you know, This other guy that's sweet-talking you right now, oh, yeah, no, he doesn't sweet-talk anyone else, fool. But he's nothing and she's nothing but a shiny object. And that's how we end up complicating our lives and not being deeply rooted and working through the hard issues we have to in order to succeed. And we uproot ourselves, try to find a different field, and then can't figure out why we are always behind. So if that's been you, you've been in that kind of situation, dial this phone number, 844-200-3264. Again, that's 844-200-3264. Are you an uprooter? A job hopper? Church hopper? Business hopper? Girlfriend hopper? Boyfriend hopper? Diet hopper? Food hopper? What kind of hopper are you? And what price have you paid as a direct result of it? Because if you have the guts to share your story, well, then it might save someone else from making the same mistake. Because it's so easy to justify our actions. It really, really is. All right, I've got on line 6, Jessica from South Boston, Virginia. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, Dani. I was calling because I've had a problem with this for a while. I've had a problem with situations at my job. I've left one job because none of the girls there like me. My preacher's wife convinced me. She's like, well, Jessica, they're just jealous. They just don't want to see another pretty face in there. And I'm like, no, I want to learn how to love these people. I'm a Christian. You know, I feel like we need to get past all that childishness or whatever. So I left one job. I'm at another job now. I had a situation there where I ran into a sexual harassment case. And now I want to leave that because it made the situation uncomfortable. Well, I forgave the guy. The guy forgave me for saying anything about it, and we've learned to work past it, which was very uncomfortable at first.
Yeah.
But it got okay quicker than what I thought. But before that, I got hurt in church, and I was also hopping from churches after that, after being grounded in one for about 10 years.
Wow.
Well, so it's like I feel like I'm cutting off every relationship and every friendship, every job opportunity. And I just want to learn how to get rooted and grounded. I want to learn to develop relationships again.
Yes.
And I want to learn to love people instead of pushing them away anytime they get close to me. Mm-hmm. What advice do you have for me?
Okay, first of all, did you come from a divorced home?
No, I didn't. My parents have been together all my life.
That's awesome. That's really, really awesome. Rejection of self and others, the reason why I ask that is that it's a very common thing that happens in kids who came from a divorced home. They have a tendency of not being able to make a commitment, and when something doesn't go right, they're out. So, yeah. And so that was my first question, is like, deal with that. You know, there's some counseling that needs to be done there if that was the case. But in this case, you didn't come from a divorced home, but there was rejection somewhere in there. Somewhere. And what's happening is either you are rejecting people who are not perfect. Wait a second. So what happens is we have a tendency of thinking, especially Christians have a tendency of thinking this, I'm only speaking from personal experience, love. It's terrible, I'm going to confess this. Well, that my husband better be Jesus, and all 5 of my children better be Jesus, and all of their spouses and their children better be Jesus, and every single one of my coworkers better be Jesus, and every single client I have better be Jesus. Are you with me? And same with the grocery store clerk last night when I was there at 9 o'clock, better be Jesus, because if you ain't perfect and you aren't perfectly lovable, then I'm out of here.
Yeah, well, I do feel like that, and I feel like that helped a lot because people tell me all the time, they're like, well, no guy's going to marry you, Jessica. A lot of guys think you're pretty, but no one's going to marry you because you want them to be Jesus, and nobody's perfect. And I do feel like that God's got that right one for me, and I don't want to get impatient and settle. But then again, it's like, you know, I'm almost 30. I don't want to be too old before I get into a relationship. I want to be able to have kids.
Yeah. Yep.
Settle down, you know.
Well, it's not about lowering your standards. What it is about, however, is, Jesus did not say, love people who are like me. He did not say that. What he did say is that we are supposed to love people the way we love him and to love people the way we want to be loved. Yikes. Ouch. Wow. So you got to try that sucker on for size. And that's a prayer every day. Jessica. It's a prayer every day. Lord, teach me to love myself, first of all, how you love me, because I have a feeling you probably can get down on yourself once in a while, as we all do. And teach me, Lord, how to love everyone that is around me. You see, love is packed with patience. Love is packed with gentleness. Love is packed with kindness. Love is packed also with understanding. It's packed with wisdom. Love is packed with endurance and persistence. Love is packed with, I'm not going to quit on you. I'm going to love you. And love is also packed with loving the unlovable and loving our enemy. It doesn't mean we allow our enemy to walk all over us, but that if we are an enemy to somebody else, what kind of grace would we want to have extended to us? Love is packed with honor and respect, and love is also packed with correction and self-discipline and self-control. These are all the fruits of the Holy Spirit. That's the fruit of the Holy Spirit. So the only way, in my opinion, that I have found in my life that I'm able to love anybody, because I come from such a rough background, I hated everyone. The only way I could love anybody was through the Holy Spirit that dwells in me. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Hey, have you done a favor for your best friend yet? Then do it now. Share this program with them. The Dani Johnson Show, helping hundreds of thousands of people just like you make life more enjoyable and rewarding. The Dani Johnson Show.
But I'm so blessed that I found what is in Grooming the Next Generation for Success. This is a book that is being taught in universities around the world. It's been noted as the best book on parenting that has ever been written. Crazy, if you ask me. But the point is that this thing gets results. Get your copy today, 888-757-8880. Again, that's 888-757-8880. Or go to DaniJohnson.com. That's DANI Johnson.com. Get your copy today.
How to live a very balanced life.
I've totally sacrificed my friendships, and I've definitely sacrificed my family. And yeah, I only get 4 to 6 hours of sleep every night.
Struggles with managing your time. How to solve issues with love, life, money, or your spiritual journey.
I can't stress to you enough, it's important to live a very balanced life.
Dani is the counterweight to give you balance.
Do you find that you're not living out your life the way you want it to?
This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. This is hour 2, and I know that you are going to have a better day as a direct result of tapping in to today's discussion. Without roots, you bear no fruit. Yes, that's the facts. I'm sorry, I didn't write that. That came out of the best success textbook ever written, the Bible. If we do not have roots, we cannot bear fruit. And we often, a lot of people in today's world have a tendency of giving up too fast, giving in too fast. We have a tendency of not possessing the beautiful character traits of persistence, focus, endurance, self-control. There's all kinds of shiny objects all around us all the time, friends, more today than ever. Around us, our children, and our coworkers. We have too many access points. We really do. There's too many points where people can access us, whether that is on social media or it is our text messaging, our phones, meaning phone calls, email is another access point that people have in us. And therefore, we are not able to focus. When we don't focus, we can't get the job done in the marriage or in the business or in the finances or with the kids. We cannot get the job done. So then we create frustration access points. Yes, and then we feel the pressure that is caving in on us because we know we are behind because we got pulled into email, the email black hole that sucked us in for hours upon hours. And then don't forget, while you had your email open, you have your notifications on. I have no notifications, by the way. Notification comes in, and what does the notification say? Oh, so-and-so just sent you an email. So then you go back to your inbox, and you check now the new email that came in, and wow, you're in this rabbit hole, black hole that sucks you in for hours. And wait a minute, don't forget, someone in an email gives you a link. You click the link. You go over now, it opens up a new tab. Now you're on a new website. website. You're looking on this website. It thing has you distracted even though you had several emails you hadn't answered yet. Now you're over here on this website, and here comes this pop-up ad. So now you click on the pop-up ad. Is this your life? You click on the pop-up ad, it takes you to a click add to cart, and then there's another pop-up after you've clicked it added to cart, and it says the other people enjoyed this too. So then you clicked on the yes, I'll take that too, and you forgot what you were working on. But don't forget, then your phone went beep, 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 or swoosh, or whatever your sound is for your phone. And it alerted you that you just got 5 text messages. And all of them, by the way, are urgent. So now we're distracted for hours on end throughout the day, and we don't get the things done that we want to get done. Then we create frustration access points between the boss, the spouse, and the kids, and our personal health. We're not getting enough sleep because now I got to put in hours later, and I'm going to work till 2 o'clock in the morning to finish the job I was supposed to do between 8 to 5 today. And now we're not getting enough sleep, so then the next day, what are you? Exhausted? And when you're exhausted, you're snappy, and you don't smile, and you make people mad, and you forget things. Now the boss is going to call you in. You're going to get called in. And what's going to happen there? You get called in, and now, I don't know, you might get suspended if this continues. Right? So now you got more stress, right? So then, usually the solution for most people is, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Forget it. I'm gone. Goodbye. I can't handle it. I'm done. It's over. No more. My boss didn't understand how hard I was working. Working on what? Getting sucked into the black hole of distractions? Or actually getting the job done? So important to look in the mirror on this sucker right now. It really, really is. And that goes for the bosses. That goes for the business owners. I've seen this happen countless times with business owners. Right? I hear it all the time, especially rookie business owners. Well, yeah, I invested in such and such business, and well, it didn't work for me. No, what you really just said is you didn't work it. That's what you just said. And it was the economy as to why, it didn't work for me. No, listen, friend. If we were to go back and just have a videotape of 1 week of your business life, what would we see? What would we see? It's never the business, it's never the product, it's not even so much the market. Yes, the market can either help bring in bigger, more and more if you know what you're doing. Because here's the facts. Let's look at 2 real estate agents, all right? Let's look at 2 real estate agents right in the city in which you are listening to this show. 2 agents, they work for the same company, which means they have the same branding. Okay, whatever that company is, you got the picture in your head of what the name of that real estate company is? They have the same business cards. They just have a different picture on the front. And why is it that one real estate agent could be making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in a bad economy, but then there is that other real estate agent that has access to the same houses to sell, has access to the same county, they have the same exact brand name on their cards, the same management managing the same office, doing the same advertising? Why is it that the other guy is now, well, the economy went sour, so, I lost my real estate career? Sorry, buddy. The other guy invested into skill sets. He learned what he needed to know in order to succeed in a bad economy. But the other guy blamed the economy instead. So you really have to look at where you're putting your time, what you're focusing on. And once you make a decision that you're not going to quit, then you have to solve the problems that are in front of you. But as soon as you start entertaining the thoughts of quitting, right? And by the way, here is a thought. I'm never going to quit. You already opened the door to quitting. You already opened the door. As soon as you say, I'm never going to quit, I've got to keep going on this thing, you already opened the door. You already entertained the conversation because the conversation came and you said that answer, which means the crack of the door is already open. And then now the next time something happens that is not favorable for you, either by your own personal actions or by the actions of somebody else, but when the heat comes, then what happens? Then you simply, in most cases, lots of people just bolt. They get enticed, seduced and enticed to something completely different, and then it's a start over. Lame. You don't need to start over. you need to root yourself. You need to root yourself because that where there are solid roots, there bears good fruit, the sweetest of fruit. That's what we're talking about today. Are you one of those that seems to just, things get tough, so you bolt? For business, finance, or relationships, call me now if you would like some help or you want to just talk about it, or if you've been able to overcome and you've been able to sustain yourself and endure. You're a former job hopper, career hopper, boyfriend, girlfriend hopper, church hopper, car hopper, food hopper, diet hopper. 844-200-3264. Again, that's 844-3264. Line 2. I have LaShawna from Charleston, South Carolina. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hey, Dani. How's it going?
Good. Go ahead, LaShawna. What's your comment?
There were lots of things that I used to start and not finish, or when I got frustrated, I would just go shop and buy me a pair of shoes just because that made me feel good. Now since I have been introduced to some of the things that you teach, I no longer do that, but I have kind of used the skill of shopping to develop a business while doing it. So it kind of worked out. So
Nice. Yeah, if you got an interest in shopping and you can figure out how to make money shopping, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Yeah, one of my spiritual daughters, her name is Laura. She loved fashion, absolutely loved it, and found herself, no matter how much teaching she had from her spiritual mama about money, that girl still was like yearning for the new clothes to see what was going on in fashion. And every time she'd open herself up to a magazine, there she is thinking like, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. This young lady, so awesome. She worked with us for 5 years. She traveled with us all over the world. And when she got married, she decided that she was either going to work for DaniJohnson.com or she was going to work for herself. And we all moved to Texas from California, and her husband didn't want to move there. So she started a business, and it's a consignment store. And this consignment store is called Runway Exchange. It's in California, and it's awesome. It's all high-end labeled items that everybody wants, Free People, those kinds of things that you'll find at Nordstrom's or Macy's or whatever, or BB or things like that. And she has not bought clothes in years because it's a consignment store. So look at this. Her focus on clothes, she turned it into a positive, created a business out of it, and she's making a lot of money. A lot of money. And what's awesome about it, she only works 1 day a week. Her son is about 15 months old. So she had the baby. She's like, I'm not working. I'm doing it the way my spiritual mama did it. I'm only going to put in part-time hours because my son and my husband are my higher priorities. She goes in once a week. She goes once a week pretty much for her own entertainment. So she learned how, through the same training that you're listening to, LaShawna, the same exact website that you're using, she learned how to manage people, hire people, get consigners, how to make that thing profitable, and get free clothes. She shops in her own consignment store and reaps the benefit of it. And by the way, when she's done wearing it, she puts it on the rack. It's brilliant. I have found some of my clothes that I've given to her that she wore for several years on her racks. In fact, my aunt went and bought something. My aunt brought me home. She went to Laura Lee's shop, bought this shirt, wrapped it up, gave it to me. I opened it up. It was a shirt I bought in 2005 in Australia. Anyway, so congratulations that you figured out a way to use something that you're interested in, that you like, to turn that into a money-making opportunity for you instead of hopping around. Good job, girl. I'm proud of you. This is Dani Johnson. That was a nice little sidekick, wasn't it? Anyway, we're talking about stop hopping. And it's time to root yourself, because in the roots is where you bear the fruit. That's where the success is in your career, in all of your relationships. It's really easy to quit. Have you ever noticed that? It's so easy to quit. Hello, did you hear me? It is so easy to quit. You have to think about this. When things get tough, and I mean tough, we want to bolt. And in fact, I met a woman back in December. She had 9 children. Her husband was trying to look for work. They had suffered through an earthquake, lost their home, lost food, lost everything, family members. And her husband went to go find work in another village, couldn't find it. He bolted. He did not come back. He left his wife with 9 kids. Now, poor Fida is worried about how she's going to feed those 9 children with no clean water, and no crops. Sad, isn't it? Yeah. So we are going to root Fida. We're building her a home. We are bringing in water supply, and we're going to make sure her and her children are taken care of. If you'd like to help us do that, go to kingsransom.org. Again, that's kingsransom.org, and click on Kadwa, Haiti. We'll continue with more after this.
Working to achieve happiness in life is not easy. Advice, life stories, solutions, a beacon of hope. Stay tuned for more of The Dani Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
Helping you get a grip on your priorities and your focus. The Dani Johnson Show.
Here's Dani Johnson.
Whether you realize it or not, you're building equity. Yes, you're building equity. Whether you own the business or not, you literally are building equity. Because wherever it is that you choose to root yourself and be not like 98% of the population that has this mentality of serve me, and if everything's great, then I stay in this relationship, then I stay in this business, then I stay in this career, or I stay on this path of paying off my debt. But if it gets hard, goodbye. Think about how many times you've jumped through relationships, one after another, and always seem to wind up back in the same spot again. That's what we're talking about today. Relationship, business, and finance hopping. Come on now. It's time to mature. It's time to grow up. And it's time to stop entertaining quitting. And it's time to learn to solve problems. That's what you've got to learn how to do. That's what I have got to learn to get better at myself. 844-200-3264. This is Dani Johnson. You're listening to The Dani Johnson Show, where we solve people's problems every single day. Finance, business, parenting, spouse, you name it. You got a problem? This is the place you call. 844-200-3264. We go into line 6. I have Janelle from Encino, California. Janelle, you know I'm going to be in LA here in a few weeks. Can't wait to see you.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes, I'm excited.
Good.
I'm excited. Hi, Dani. I'm calling because I guess you would call me a little bit of a relationship hopper. I want to get married, but right now, I've always ran into those, I guess I've only ran into those guys that were not ready for a relationship and weren't ready to commit. And
so why were you dating them?
I guess I didn't realize till after that I had this false impression that they would be the one. And I guess I didn't ask that question in the beginning and went through the process and then found out in the end,
so
unfortunately.
What did you just learn?
Ask questions in the beginning.
Yeah. But you know why you don't ask questions in the beginning, Janelle?
Because I don't want to know.
Yeah, because you don't want to know and you're afraid you're going to scare them off.
Yeah.
You're afraid you're going to scare them off. Now look at that equation. Would you much rather not waste 9 months of your life and then scare them off? Or would you much rather scare them off right from the get-go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather in the beginning.
Yeah. Janelle, I'm going to ask you a personal question. Don't you lie.
Okay.
Are you sleeping with these men?
I did. I've learned my lesson and have decided to keep it locked until I get the rock. So
I love that. Okay, so listen to me. That's why you have to have the conversation in the beginning. And so when you meet, boy, whoever, the very first conversation needs to be, listen, I don't date, but I will be courted. I'm actually looking for a husband. And if you're not looking for a wife, we're not moving forward. And number 2, I am not looking to be touched by anyone but my husband. And I won't know who my husband is until the day we exchange vows, and that's the only person that's getting the key to unlock my lips and everything else on this body. So, Joe, are you in or out? And if
I will definitely do that.
If that's not what you're looking for, bam, see ya. And girlfriend, on to the next. Don't even engage in the relationship. Do you understand?
Okay.
Don't even go there. That's how you will not relationship hop again. No more. No one gets to test drive, baby. No one. Keep it locked till you get the rock. No question. No question. But quit trying to test the waters. Forget that nonsense. You simply are upfront with all of it. I could tell you stories for hours and hours and hours of clients as well as family members that have taken that advice and have ended up with amazing marriages and with amazing men. And you know what? You'd be surprised how many men are looking for that kind of girl. And when a girl says that, he's like, whoa, she ain't like some other cheap tramp that's out there. She ain't like everybody else. This girl I'm going to have to work for. And that's what you're looking for, baby. You're looking for somebody that's got the same convictions. You're looking for somebody that is willing to abide by your boundaries. Because if he's not going to follow the boundaries before you're married, there certainly will not be any boundaries after marriage. And trust me, that is a disaster. Because I did it all wrong. I did it all wrong. I absolutely did everything wrong, and my husband and I have struggled with boundaries our entire 23 years that we've been sleeping together. So we're learning. We're getting better now that we're in our 40s. Yay! But don't make the mistakes we made. Just don't do it. All right, I'm excited for you, and I want you to contact me right there on our Facebook page and let me know the first time you have that conversation. Because I want to celebrate it with you. All right, girl, I'm proud of you. Thanks so much for being you're welcome. Thank you so much for being a faithful listener to the Dani Johnson Show. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Don't just stand there. Soak this up. It's joy, it's encouragement, it's insight to a better life and how to meet your obligations and overcome obstacles.
The Dani Johnson Show.
This is the Dani Johnson Show.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your freedom, your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Now, more of the Dani Johnson Show.
When you continuously uproot yourself, you've actually lost. You have forsaken the equity that you've already built. I watch this a lot in young people. I don't know what it is. And I did this too when I was young. I did this a lot when I was young. I moved a lot. I moved around a lot. Apartment to apartment, job to job, state to state, boyfriend to boyfriend. I did this a lot. And I never even added up how much money I lost and how many career opportunities I lost as a direct result of moving around so much until I've watched as a grandmother today of 5 and a mother of 5, as I've watched choices that my children have made or other kids have made where they're moving around a lot. And then in my head, I just go, do they have any idea how much it costs to move? And do they have any idea how many bills they already have? And every single time they change jobs, they're actually losing ground. They're losing equity. They're not building something. They are only using something. And we reap what we sow. And if you don't root yourself, you'll never get to where you want to go. So look at this. So just even look at that. Are you one of those that moves around a lot? It costs money every time to do it, right? Whether it's renting a truck or putting down a deposit on another place to rent a house or whatever, right? The cost of setting things up in the new house and, oh, well, this furniture doesn't fit in this house, so you sell some of it and then you buy some others of it, right? Every single time you move, the gasoline that it costs to get there. We really have kind of lost the root system that this country really was founded on. You know, I like it when I head up to places like Pennsylvania or even St. Louis. And we head up in those directions quite often. Every time I'm talking to a cab driver or somebody that's working in a hotel, and I'll ask them, and it's only in certain pockets around the country and in other parts of the world. It's not common these days, but there's certain states where, like New Jersey, where people stay there. And what keeps them there, through all the bad weather, through all the cold and the hot, smuggy, like, mushy summers with all the humidity, mushy is definitely descriptive of what that's like up there. You know, you just ask them, like, what keeps you in New Jersey? What keeps you in Pennsylvania? What keeps you in St. Louis, as in each one of these various different cities in those states? And the same word always comes up, family. Family. Wow. Amazing. Go to California, ask the same question. No one stays there. Everyone moves. Everyone is hopping and flopping and dropping all over the place. But there's certain places where there is some roots and they stay there because they've got generations of family members that are there. And my husband and I, what I do to have some roots. My husband grew up moving every 90 days, and so his physical body was trained to move every 90 days. And it's taken him a long time to get to that place of, oh, we probably should have some roots. Please. Anyway, we're talking about today, yes, establishing yourself, grounding yourself. Yes, not being a boyfriend, girlfriend hopper, church hopper, job hopper, financial plan hopper, diet hopper, food hopper, that you're one of those always going with the trend. I think there needs to be a new trend of roots. Yeah. Because there's something that you get with roots that you cannot get by hopping and flopping and dropping at everything. You got to turn off them shiny objects, friend, if you want to succeed at a greater level. Build equity in your relationship with your spouse. Build equity in the relationships that you have outside of the home, inside of the home. Build equity in the work experience that you're gaining at your job, in your business. Gosh, have I watched people flop and chase shiny objects in business, as I have. So anyway, I'm going to line 3. We've got Keisha from Roanoke, Virginia. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hey, Dani. My question is just, how do you establish, or what's the type of conversation you have when looking for a home church? I am the type of woman where I've always been so independent that I do things on my own. I know how to search for and, come up with a solution myself. But recently being married and learning how to let my husband lead and he not feeling like he's in a position to lead, we have not had a church home for probably the last 6 to 7 months. And for me, it's kind of weighing on me. But for him, it's not really a big deal. So I guess I'm just kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Whereas, hopping from one to the next, how do you establish that root in a church, or what type of conversation you have first?
I got to tell you, I think it's important to have roots in a church. I'm going to tell you why. Because if you really build, there's 2 types of people that are in church. Well, let me say 3. One is those that go to church twice a year kind of thing. It's a special occasion, so we go to church, all right? That's not really going to church. And then the second one is the one that just goes to church. And there's the third one that creates a church family. And a church family is a family where there's accountability, where there's counsel, where there's relationship, and kids grow up with each other, and we pass through those hard times together. And I believe that all churches have all 3 of those types of people, and we know who they are. So you're going to find them in any church. And in all churches, you're going to find pain. In all churches, you're going to find people who gossip about each other, people who are jealous about each other, and people who judge. That's in all churches. But if you really are looking for a church family, not just to go to church, but you're looking for a church family, that's when you get deeply rooted and well connected, and you help those who are going through hard times, and they then turn around and help you when you're going through a hard time. So finding that church family, number 1, you might want to ask God. Because so many people shop for churches like they shop for a suit or a new pair of shoes. They're looking for the church to fit their needs. But if you are somebody that is claiming that Jesus, the Christ, is your Messiah, your Savior, well, then he's dwelling in you, and I'd be asking him for the church family that he would like you to tap into. And also have the conversation with your husband. If he does not feel like he wants to go and be a part of a church family, that's his prerogative. He is not your job. But saying, would you mind if I find a church family? I'd like to go, and you don't have to go. That's your prerogative. Because here's what the Bible says. And I'm not saying your husband's an unbeliever, but it says that through the wife's submissive, quiet spirit, and through her conduct and the way she loves him and the way she serves him, that is actually what will draw him to a deeper and close relationship with Jesus. Not by badgering him. Hey, when are you going to find us a church family? It's obviously not a prerogative for him. However, it's yours. So it's your job to seek the Lord God with all your heart, soul, and mind and ask him to show you. And then you have to seek, right? Seek and then knock. So it means you go. What we did is we tested something out for 30 days because in 4 weeks, 4 services, you're going to get a bit of a flavor of where it is to be. The whole time saying, Lord, is this where you want us? Is this where you want us? Are these the people you want us to invest into? And are these the people you want investing into us? So there you go. Stop using your husband as an excuse, Mommy.
You're right.
It's time to step up and get the job done. God put it in your heart. He didn't put it in your husband's heart. So you've got something to do between you and God. Great question, by the way. I appreciate it. This is Dani Johnson. We're taking your call live right now, 844-200-3264. If you get a voicemail, when you get the voicemail, then leave us your comment or your question right there, and we'll do our best to air it at some point throughout the Dani Johnson Daily Show. Every day we're here, so make sure you're listening so you can hear your voice if you ended up on a voicemail. Line 2, I've got Mia from Waldorf, Maryland. Mia, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, Dani. How are you?
Good. What's your question?
My question is, I've always been extremely committed to everything that I do. And a lot of times I always hear that I'm too committed to something. So we have been doing this financial road to freedom, and I just refuse with everything in me to go backwards and repeat this cycle that we have been doing. So my question is, how do we... Opposition is coming in every direction, and I know that what we need to do, the highest thing that we have right now is our mortgage, and I'm at the place where I'm ready to say, I'm not committed to be here to get free from this. This is the highest thing that we have, but I'm always looked as the one if I'm always making drastic decisions or too committed, and maybe this isn't the right thing, but I know that we've made mistakes in the past, and this just seems so right to let go. We have no real commitment here, or the specific area that we are in.
Yep.
Really was fulfilling the flesh again. So, how do you move forward and not be the overly committed person to those that are important decision makers around you,
right?
But continue to move in the direction that you're supposed to go.
Okay, this is such an important question, Mia, and I thank you so much for bringing it to my attention. Okay, first of all, if your husband is not in agreement with moving, then I would strongly recommend that you pray and you be patient. I'm going to get to the rest of your question. We have to cut over here real quick to a break. And I want to get deeper into that question and that issue. And we'll do that right after this.
Johnson, the most common question I get usually are from people who are trying to juggle their life. They've got kids who are involved in all kinds of activities. They've got business or their job, finances, trying to get out of debt, plus all their church activities and all the volunteer activities, and they're pulling their hair out going, how do I juggle this all? Man, I once lived just like that until I learned Time Secrets. Time Secrets showed me how to be able to cut my hours from 100 hours a week that I was working down to 20 hours a week and tripled my income as a direct result with what I learned. Time Secrets also showed me how to get my priorities in order, which healed up my marriage. And I became a mother that I was proud of versus becoming the mother I didn't want to be. And so if you feel like your world is running around in all kinds of different circles, you can fix that. Call 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880 for Time Secrets.
We're back. Here's Dani Johnson.
Do you move around a lot? I know we have made a mistake of moving around a lot, and sometimes it's been profitable, sometimes it's not. All in all, it's been painful. Every single move has been painful. We've got Mia on the phone from Waldorf, Maryland, who says she has a tendency of being overcommitted to things, and right now they've got nothing left of their debt besides their mortgage and feels like they should sell that house and wants to make sure that she's not making a bad decision. So we're going to bring Mia back on. Mia, so here's the question I have for you. Is your husband for the move?
Yeah.
He is. What about your children? Are your children for the move?
Yeah.
Okay. And does it seem that there is an opportunity for you in a place where you feel like it's going to be profitable to move? That's a big fat no. So here's what you do. You do not want to put your family in a bad, stressful place. And so when it looks like that stone is not yet there in front of you, then honestly, the best thing to do is to not move too quick. So if everyone's feeling in their gut that we're supposed to move, but you do not have anything lined up that actually says this will be blessed, I wouldn't do it. I would simply hold your position and pray and be patient and see what your God does for you. And he will make it obvious on what you're supposed to do. He will confirm it on multiple different levels. You've got responsibilities there. Now, here's another question. You said your mortgage is last. Did you buy a house you shouldn't have bought?
I would say we downsized, Dani, tremendously, and that's a difference of opinion with my husband and I. I'm pretty much like Hans. I can live in anything, and he's almost there, but he still has a level in which he wants to live. So it's comfortable where we are as far as the payment, but I just know we've been looking, and there's things in our area that are much less expensive that are still compatible to where we live. So it's just getting us into, when we sell our house, we will be completely debt-free.
Wow.
And so,
but what does that mean, though? If you sold your house, then you're completely debt-free. But then are you going to go buy another house and have another mortgage, or are you planning on renting?
No. We were planning on renting and establishing enough money to be able to purchase with cash a home in the next couple of years.
Right. Okay, so you said earlier that your husband is okay with moving, right? He just doesn't want to downgrade more than where he's at right now.
Absolutely, correct.
Then you have to either do this, and this is whenever my husband and I are not in agreement on something, this is my prayer, and this is also his. God, change my heart or change his. And until that happens, we pause. So you just pause. And you keep praying. You keep doing what you're doing with saving money and all of that kind of stuff, and maybe making double payments on the mortgage or whatever if you want to pay that mortgage off. Also be looking at, in the height of the greatest part of the market, what was the value of your home? Is this really the right time to sell? You know, is this really it? Are we at the top? Or are we at the middle? Are we at the bottom? But you said you're making the payment fine. There's not a ton of financial stress on you. I would say, and you and your husband are not in agreement about what to buy, then I hold. Hold, pray, ask for God to change either one of your hearts, and it'll be very, very obvious when it actually happens. And guess what? The right purchase is going to pop itself up right in front of you, and it's going to meet both of your needs. There's no reason why your husband, his needs won't be met and your needs won't be met at the same time. God is faithful to those who are faithful to him and who will be patient and endure and wait upon him. So, good question. That's my advice. You can do whatever the heck you want with it. This is Dani Johnson. You're listening to the Dani Johnson Show, where everyday advice for your life success in all areas: family, relationships, business, career, and finances. You want to succeed? This is the place to be. Daily, every single day, we are here, and I'm glad that you've made the choice to join us as well. So we're wrapping up, talking about, yes, shiny objects. You know, here's something that I have found in my lifetime here on planet Earth. For myself, okay, and for others. And it's crazy. And this is what it is. That whenever I have gotten impatient and I've wanted something and I wasn't wise enough or smart enough or mature enough, I would bolt. And what I have found in my lifetime is that we have so many options out there. I believe we were a better society when we didn't have so many options. When we didn't have the options of Starbucks, Peet's Coffee. When we didn't have the options of iPhones and smartphones that surf the internet. When we didn't have the options of text messaging. When we didn't have the options actually of being able to be contacted in our cars, right? We weren't able to be contacted while we were in the bathroom. When we couldn't be contacted anywhere besides at home, and if by chance we could have phone calls at work, which generally we couldn't have personal phone calls at work, right? We couldn't. So that meant we had to deal with our personal issues at home, and we had to deal with our business issues at work, and that was it. But today, we have so many options and ways to distract us. We have so many shiny objects. It's like a fishing lure right in front of our face, and it says it's for a discount. It says it's a good idea. It says it's going to make our life easier. It says it's going to make it better, right? Isn't that what the cell phone sold us? It's going to make our life better. It's going to make it easier. We have access to all these other things. Is it really wise to have access to all those things? We end up jumping from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. We're literally like, those jumping beans. Popping, 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 almost like popcorn. We are. We get heat, we start popping like popcorn. And then we abandon our post. We abandon the place where we're supposed to be rooted. These are some of the things that I've learned about success. Because I was a former homeless woman, who became a multimillionaire in business. I didn't win the lottery. No, I didn't inherit the money. No, I worked in the business field and built several companies, today multi-million-dollar companies. And I had to learn a lot about money and how to, not be strangled by debt, and learn some strategies about managing my time and working with people. I had a lot of baggage in my childhood that I brought into my marriage and into my business careers and into relationships with people. Listen, if you would like to have the recipe, if you will, that I found for my personal success that thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of people around the world have also used, I'd like to give you that free copy right now. If this is your first time listening to the Dani Johnson Show, First Steps to Wealth, you can get the ebook free right now of the physical book, First Steps to Wealth. If you go over and call this number, 866-760-8255. Again, that's 866-760-8255, and request your free copy, the ebook of First Steps to Wealth. Or if you'd like a physical copy, tell them you'd be glad to pay the shipping if we'd be glad to send you the $15 book. All right, so again, that's 866-760-8255, First Steps to Wealth. It's my recipe on how I was able to fix every single mess in my life, the messes I caused, how I dug myself out of them, and became financially independent with a better career and a better marriage. Anyway, we could all use some of that, right? Anyway, it's our free gift to you. We just thank you so much for listening, or if you're watching this via television, we appreciate your contribution to the show. I'm so grateful for all that called in today to share their stories as well as ask their questions, as it helped me, and I'm sure it helped you as well. So thank you for joining me today. We're going to talk to you tomorrow about another awesome topic that's going to give you advice for your life that brings you to success.
We want to thank you for listening to The Dani Johnson Show. We hope you found inspiration, answers, and hope to renew your happiness in life and learned how to make the most of today and tomorrow. Join us again on the next Dani Johnson Show.
I remember being homeless and broken in every way, and being overloaded with financial pressure, the pressure that I was a failure, the social pressure, everything that I felt like was crashing down on top of me. And at the same time, I felt so alone until I learned the strategies of First Steps to Success. You have the chance, my friend, to annihilate all of your debt. Think about that. You have the chance to grow your income through your current career, or even learning to start a brand new business that will be profitable. You also have the chance for learning how to motivate the people that are in your life that are driving you crazy, and how to have significant breakthrough, not only spiritually, but physically, financially, and socially, and business-wise. And so I'm excited to see you at First Steps to Success. It's coming up January 17th through the 19th. Get yourself registered today, 888-757-8880. There's a seat with your name on it, friend. 888-757-8880.